You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys. And today, we have a really special episode for you guys. We're going to talk all things Toro today, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the brand new Toro Grandstand MultiForce and some of the updates and revisions that the unit has had over the last couple of years. And we have two great guests on the line. We actually have Jared Nuessen here, and he is the Toro marketing manager. And we also have Mike Jager here. He's one of the senior design engineers for Toro. So this is going to be a super fun conversation today. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Jared, let's start with you, brother. What's your background and role over here at Toro?
Thanks, Brian. First of all, pleasure being on the show here. It's been great to talk with you recently, and love the podcast, love what you do online and social and the business you operate there. So hats off to you. Good work. Thanks again for having us. So I am a marketing manager in our LCE department over here at Toro. So I lead our stand-on business and our entry-level Zs, so our Z-Master 2000, Z-Master 4000, our turf renovation products. And, interesting kind of background prior to Toro, worked in oil and gas, then in alternative energy, and then eventually all roads led to Toro. So been here for about 14 months and loving it. Get to work with great contractors such as yourself, and then also with a hell of a design team with people like Mike Jager. So I'm going to hand it over to Mike. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, Brian, thank you for having me on the show here. Happy to be here. I'm a engineer at Toro. I've been working on the Grandstand and WAM product lines for about 6 years now. Been a great company to work at. Happy to work at Toro and really enjoy working on the product line and meeting contractors like yourself. And it's been a great experience all around. So happy to be here.
Amen, guys. Well, I'm super excited to have guys of your caliber and talent on the show. Here's what I'll say really quickly, guys. If you're listening in, it's not going to be a whole Grandstand MultiForce kind of a pitch fest here. I don't like doing that. These guys don't want to do that. But here's what I will tell you, though, is I actually reached out to Toro. I said, hey, you guys sent this new MultiForce over here. I demoed one a few years back. I wasn't overly impressed with it. I didn't think it was a bad unit. I just think, for me personally, in my experience, it wasn't up to snuff. It wasn't ready yet. And I was pretty honest with that. And so I was having a conversation with Toro the last 6 months, and they said, hey, what we got going on today, the new accessories, the updates, we've made some changes. What do you think? You want to give it a shot? And I, in total honesty, and this might even shock both of you guys listening in, but I said, no. No, I'm busy. I'm building a house. I have a baby coming. I do not need companies. I don't need, sending me stuff. I don't need more products sending me stuff. I didn't get started on YouTube for any of that. But the PR guy that I get to work with, Andrew, who's a great guy, he said, dude, I'm telling you, you got to take a look at this stuff. And I said, all right, fine. I'll take a look at it. Go ahead, send some stuff over. And I know you guys listening in are like, yeah, dude, easy. That's a good story to tell. But the all honest truth is I'm like, hey, I don't need to have more stuff here. I'm already buying out the whole row of storage lockers for my facility, which is really funny. But I said, sure, let's send it out. And once it got dropped off to me about 2 or 3 weeks ago at the time of this recording, I said, dude, this is insane. Like, it's insane. The accessories are insane. It's already blowing my mind just from some first impressions. We've actually been using a lot of it lately for spring cleanups and dethatchings. You guys are, checking that all out real time on Instagram. And so what I wanted to do is I said, dude, this isn't the same thing, or it doesn't seem like it's the same thing from a few years ago. And so I said to Andrew, I'm like, hey, give me somebody from the mothership, from Toro. I said, I want to hear more about this unit and everything it has going on. And so he gave me two go-to guys with Jared and Mike over here. So we're going to hear a little bit more from what their roles are for the company, talk to you guys a little bit more about the MultiForce in case you guys do want to check it out and learn more about this game changer product from Toro. So let's do this really quick. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to bring us all the show sponsors, announcements, and updates. And then we're going to come right on back.
Law entrepreneurs are smart about making investments in the right equipment to grow their business. Isn't it time to invest in yourself? Your feet have been telling you to ditch the grass-stained athletic shoes that lead to embarrassing mishaps on hills and wet lawns and to chunk those boots made for working in the factory. Thanks to Cujo, you don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction. Cujo keeps your feet happy with quality materials and construction, optimizing your performance and efficiency. While you focus on laying killer stripes, Cujo will be there every step of the way. And that sound you'll be hearing is your feet singing Hallelujah. Grab a pair today at Cujo.com, Kujo.com.
Lawns, lessons, and live. This is the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast. Now, your host, Brian Fullerton.
All right, good deal, guys. We'll always appreciate Marty, you guys, keeping you guys up to date with everything we got going around in our ecosystem. So let's just jump right back into it. We got the guests on the line. I don't want to be talking. I want to get them talking. So Jared, let's go to you really quick and talk about the grandstand and the MultiForce and just what the product is, where it came from. You know, a lot of guys lately are noticing there's a labor shortage. If you guys have looked around, it's hard to find guys to work in our field, in our industry. So what was the mindset with Toro coming out with this product just a handful of years ago and including what it is today?
Well, Brian, it all came down to efficiency. You know, we started out with the traditional grandstand unit, and we came out with our Gen 2 in 2016. And we wanted to take another approach to the traditional grass cutting unit and say, what about a unit that is a big stand on growing market? What about something that's more of a utility player in the lineup, and that can increase efficiency of operations and be utilized across different seasons in different areas? So that was really the driving force behind development of the MultiForce. And we came out with MultiForce in the end of 2016, I believe. And at the time, it really what makes this unit stand out is you can put attachments on the front of mowers. Like, people have been doing that for years. But there's patented adjustable front casters and hydraulics that really charge the flow capability and are unique to the space. And that's what differentiates MultiForce from the grandstand, regular grandstand, or other mowing units. So at the time we came out with a 5-foot plow. A few years ago when you tested, we had very few attachments. Since then, we've added a wide assortment of attachments. Up to this point in time, we have the 5-foot plow, we have a 4-foot plow, we have a patented bagger system with with optimal weight balance. We have high flow hydraulics and a broom attachment. We've got a ProForce blower with 360 degree rotation. We've got Jager attachments with an aerator, a dethatcher, an ultra high strength cutting deck at 80 KSI steel in it. And we've got a snow blower. We've got a leaf plow. We've got the brand new MultiForce that came out. So, over the last few years, we've really honed in on rounding out the portfolio of MultiForce attachments to make it honestly the most efficient utility machine in the market, we feel.
Yeah, I will agree to that. I don't think there's, from my observation, anything like it. It's crazy. And it was funny because 3, 4, 5 years ago, it feels like literally yesterday. I myself included, I got to be honest, like I was kind of poking fun. I'm like, what is Toro thinking about making this unit that could be used year round with all these different accessories? I'm the very just get a dedicated machine, get a snow raider, get a couple snow blowers or a 4-wheeler with an ATV, right? Or with a plow for snow, right? And we were like, at the same time, the Toro Dingo was out, the Toro Dingo 2000 or XL, whatever the big one is, it's like $60,000, and we're like, has Toro lost their dang mind? And it's funny. I don't know if you guys got lucky or if there's some vision here, probably the latter. But you guys had realized, hey, the market's changing, labor's changing. We're trying to keep units moving, units putting hours on them. What if we designed it something that could be used year round? And I'll tell you what, the adoption of it right now has been huge. I see so many guys getting a MultiForce. Like you just said, they can put a plow on it. They can put the dethatcher unit on in the spring, the mowing deck in the summer, the MultiForce with mulch season. They can put the turbine on in the fall for leaf cleanups. And I'm like, this is insane. One unit that arguably does it all, as long as you have the coinciding accessories. So that's incredible. So I'm really impressed with it. And I don't know, did you guys get lucky, Jared, or were you guys thinking this thing 5-10 years ago?
So we any strategic plan, it seems like we start out with, okay, here's where we want to be 10 years down the road. Here's where we want to be at 5 years down the road. But then when you get out to, let's say, 2 years in advance, you're really trying to feel where the market's going at that point in time, and you need to adjust. So, one thing that I've noticed that we do very well at Toro is, like, think about your feedback that you gave a few years ago. So we listened to that. We came back. We made some modifications, came out with more attachments. And honestly, Brian, that's one of the main reasons we wanted to come back to you, is because, you were apprehensive in the beginning, and we listened and we modified, and we think we're in a very good spot with this machine. Now, demand on these it's huge right now. I mean, this thing's really taken off. So I had to earmark a unit about 8 months ago that ended up being the one that we sent to you.
Yeah.
So, that's really what we've seen in the market, is exactly what you're saying, with, people trying to be able to expand out their services and doing that in a more cost-effective way through these different attachments.
Yeah. Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. And Brian, another thing that really stands out to me is when we look at the testing capabilities that we have in-house and what's gone into the development of this machine. I mean, with anything, you get a prototype, you send it out to some key customers, you get feedback, you redesign another prototype, more feedback, bring it back in-house. And during that whole process, I think what a lot of times people maybe don't realize is that the rigor of the testing that Toro does in-house is really quite incredible. I mean, if we can ever work it out to where you can come to the facility and check out the testing that we do, I mean, I'd love to do that. And, I'm actually going to kick it over to Mike here, because he's been involved with the testing a hell of a lot more than I have, and will have a lot better insight into exactly, what goes into the testing of the MultiForce.
Well, I was going to say, before Mike takes it away, we beat the snot out of our equipment, man. We really do. And that Toro that I had a couple years back, we were beating it up. And so Mike, if any of those videos or comments made it to your way, I always joke with the companies. I say, before the video goes out, just make sure your key engineers are in a rubber room, and take away all the sharp objects. You know what I mean? But so Mike, you do one of the you're like the senior engineer, the one of the main guys there. What do you guys do to put these things through the test, like Jared was just alluding to? Do you guys run them for a few years? What's that whole process look like?
So each of these multi-force attachments that we've come out with, we've tested individually. So we wanted to make sure that each one performed well on its own and could be almost a standalone machine for any given one of these attachments, and the performance is right there. So, for instance, if you take maybe the snowblower that just came out this winter. So for that, we put it through a full season of testing. We had a few units go out with contractors, and we relied heavily on our contractors for feedback on the machine, for what worked with them and what didn't. We ran them at our test site through a full life cycle. So looked at the machine afterwards and made note of every component that would break or malfunction throughout our testing, and beating up on it throughout one full season. Made the same notes with our contractors, providing their feedback. We also took the unit and did structural analysis, ran it through our labs, conducted heat testing. There's really a wide range of testing that we put it through. But one of the most important things is we do a full range of field testing, and a lot of our products will even test close to full life for our field testing.
When you say full life, what does full life mean? From it sounds like engineer speak for me.
So full life, it varies depending on the product, but we design our products to well outlast our warranty life.
Okay. So if these guys are gonna, beat them up for 1,500 or 2,000 hours, whatever the warranty is, it's expected to last that long or longer.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I like it. Well, it's funny. One test that you guys got to make sure you add on is the celebrity diva, YouTuber influencer, benchmark test, right? Because some companies send us stuff and they want honest feedback, and then honest feedback is code. It's Latin for, hey, we want you to talk about this, but only talk about the good things and not the bad things. And I was honest with the MultiForce. I'm like, hey, it's good here. I don't like this. I don't like that. Actually, those are some of the things you guys addressed. I think it was the engine, the placement of like some of the oil dipstick, or I don't know. It was like 3-4 years ago. I think the front wheels were a little small at the time, and none of that is on the current unit from my understanding. And it was interesting because we've had other companies, and you guys have heard me tell stories on other episodes, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse, that send us product, we demo, we test it, and then they say, you can't say that, or don't post that, or pull that down. And I'm like, no, like, dude, you're not going to squelch the voice. And we're not trying to be, buttheads out there. At least I'm not. But I like to be fair. So you guys listening in, you're like, is he really telling the truth? That's something that I would ask. And for us on our content, we always do our best to just shoot it straight. We don't want to be hiding anything. And again, I've had companies that want to throttle what we're able to say. And I'll tell you what, I just really appreciate Toro. Even if it's just, you're just saying that you hear from us, it still feels good. But I think you guys are genuine when you say, like, we want to take that feedback. Jared, is that something that you were saying earlier with, hearing from the consumer's voice or the customer's voice? I guess you guys would probably call it, like, who's this thing for, and what are we can actually use? And do you guys ever monitor that kind of feedback?
Absolutely, Brian. That the word genuine, when you used it, that really strikes me as important. I mean, like I said, a few years back when you gave your feedback, I mean, we don't know what to improve on without that feedback. And we've got pretty thick skin over here. So,
sure.
We want to hear it. And we have a team that monitors social media and, tries to respond. There's a ton of posts. There's a ton of great feedback. But, there's a lot of areas of improvement that we do listen to. And I'm on a number of those sites. I mean, following your YouTube videos, I'm following a number of other loud voices and persistent and strong voices in the industry, following them and really looking not only for where the market's going generally, but also feedback on our products. So we take that to heart and we try to improve utilizing that.
One thing, and I really do appreciate that. One thing, I'm taking notes as I'm listening to you guys. I wanted to double back where you said we're trying to figure out that this unit is in high demand and it's for multiple different uses. And I think that's clearly the biggest appeal to the MultiForce. I mean, we can talk about build quality, engines, mowing quality, blah, blah, blah. The utility of the vehicle, I think, is the biggest takeaway, or the mower. So who is this exactly designed for? Is it the owner-operator guy that wants the Swiss Army knife to do a little bit of everything? Is it for the larger companies? Is it a little bit of both? I'm just curious, too. So these guys listening in, maybe they have 2 or 3 crews and they are doing snow removal. Is this something that they should evaluate as a next equipment purchase?
Right, Brian. So originally we developed this for the small and medium-sized business. So the owner-operator, or maybe a business that has 2 or 3 crews, it gets back to that efficiency play. Mm-hmm. So, companies that want the most efficient use of their equipment. Another thing that we've really seen is when people look to expand their services outside of traditional mowing into, let's say, aeration or snow removal, or now mulch, rather than spend $8,000 on a mower, $10,000 on an aerator, and $5,000 or $6,000 on snow equipment, people can utilize MultiForce and really dip their toes into the water. Once they get some traction in the market, then if they so choose, they can upgrade to a dedicated piece of equipment.
Sure.
But, they can also just keep rolling forward with the MultiForce. So,
yeah.
And traditionally, another thing that we've seen, Brian, is it's done very well in the northern zones with snow removal in the winter and cutting grass in the summer and bagging and leaves. But with the addition of the MultiForce, we're really opening doors into that southern market where you can get more of that utility player type mentality out of this piece of equipment.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll speak from experience up here in the Midwest and the North. I have a friend, Christian, with CNI Services over there in Clarendon Hills, and he is just crushing it with that snowblade. He's doing very compact sized driveways and properties in his, it's not really subdivision, it's just like, it's a city. And so the blade is made just a game changer for him with his accessibility with that smaller unit. He got a plow truck, and he didn't even put a plow on it, I should say. He has a truck until just, I think this last winter, but for the last 2 or 3 years, he's been running that. I don't know if it's the 50-inch snowblade. It's the wider one, the larger one. But I asked him, I said, hey, dude, Toro wants to, send some stuff. I'm like, what should I even ask him for? What should I get? What should I not get? And he goes, absolutely get the snowblade. And I said, for real? And he goes, dude, game changer. And I'm like, all right. So, and by the way, just so you guys know that are listening in, we don't jump any lines. We don't get any preferential treatment. I hate that. I actually turn all that down. So when Jared was saying we put this order in about 6 to 8 months ago, legit, that's when the conversation started, because I was talking to Andrew back late fall or late summer, I should say, into fall. And so we had this thing 6-7 months in the queue. But I'm not jumping lines. I know some of you guys are still waiting on baggers, and some other stuff like that. We get it. Thank COVID for all these worldwide production delays. But I know Toro's cranking them out as fast as they can. But Jared, I just wanted to press you for a quick second on that snowblade and the snow thrower, or maybe if you want to tee it up to Mike. What has your guys' feedback been on the snow products? Because I know a lot of guys listening in do snow removal, and that could be a huge unit for them for their snow removal equipment.
Yeah, so I'll jump in on that and then hand it over to Mike for a little bit more of a technical discussion. But yeah, snow, I mean, when you look at it, we've got the 5-foot blade, and Boss, our sister company, sister brand over there, Boss makes the 5-foot blade. We've got 4-foot blade that they make. We've got the 4-foot wide snow thrower that we just launched this last fall. We've got the power broom that's great for cleaning sidewalks when you've got, a little bit of snow on them. Mm-hmm. So, we've got a large assortment there, and it fits really well into those northern zone business models. But we have received some feedback, and like I said, we love feedback. We want to get better. But some of the misconceptions that we see really can be addressed by, I tell you what, Mike's the engineer. I'm going to hand it over to Mike. Mike, please talk about some of those misconceptions and what people can do to, calm their nerves on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian, appreciate the feedback on the game changer comment about the plow. That was really one of our first attachments we came out with on the MultiForce, and we put a lot of hard sweat and tears into that, and it really performs great. And people are skeptical of that unit, thinking, how can you push snow with just a 2-wheel drive machine? But the way we set that up is you put down pressure on that front blade, and you put your snow tires on there and some wheel weights on the back. So all your weight's on the back of the machine. So right where you have all your traction on the back of the machine, you got all your weight. And it really optimizes the performance of the machine with that setup, because you just got your scraping edge up front and your weight all on your drive tires. So it really works well. And people are always impressed when they hop on that unit and start going in the snow.
Yeah.
But then to kind of carry over to our other attachments with the snow blower and the snow broom popping out this year. The snow blower coming out this year and the snow broom that we've had in the past. So with those attachments, I guess with the snow blower, we did start out with some mixed feedback this year, but to add that up, there was a little bit of a manufacturing mix up on some of the units where they didn't get set to the full stroke on the hydraulics right away. And it's just a real quick adjustment that takes care of that. And we had a few complaints about the power not being there, but when we notified those customers of the available power and how to change that to get the hydraulics at full stroke, the feedback we got coming back from those customers turned around and they were really impressed with the machine. So
cool.
That was just a nice way to get that feedback right away. And it's a little disappointing that we didn't set the machine up correctly out the gate, but it worked out great for the machine, and customers have ultimately been really happy with it once they had that setting corrected.
I like it.
Well, and Brian, one of those customers was me. I had a unit in at the office when they first came out, and we had a nice snow up here in Bloomington, Minnesota. And I took it out and I'm running it, and it was, it wasn't throwing snow, but maybe 7 or 8 feet. And I'm going along and I called Mike and I said, Mike, we've got a problem. What in the heck is going on here? And I'm just about the end of my rope, and Mike comes out, and in 30 seconds he has it fixed. And I'm throwing snow 60 feet, and it's
really
so.
That's awesome.
I can relate to how it feels when you get a piece of equipment and it doesn't really work the way you expect, and how disappointing it is. So hopefully, if anybody has that, they talk to their service department, and because it is a pretty easy, quick fix.
That's awesome. Well, I got to double down with what you guys were talking about, and I'm not trying to sell or convince you guys on getting a MultiForce. I'm just talking out loud. I mean, imagine this. You have a mower, and it's going to, mow grass for 6-7 months. And then maybe you can stretch it for another 3 weeks in the beginning and in the end with cleanups. But then let's just be real. That mower is going to sit for 3 to 4 months. And that's not bad. We've all built business models with making payments or paying cash or whatever for that equipment for the off season. It's the off season. So that equipment's sitting around for 3-4 months. Well, if you do snow, and I know if you're in Florida, you're living the dream down there. We get it. We're jealous. But for us, we do have the reality of dealing with snow. And so the other side of the coin is, what do you do for snow? Do you, like I said earlier, do you get a 4-wheeler with a little blade on there? Do you want to use your personal 4-wheeler to plow snow? No. Do you want to go buy an $8,000 snow a 4-wheeler just to plow snow? No. So you do it by a Snow Raider. I love the Snow Raider. Nothing wrong with Snow Raider. Great machine out there. A lot of guys love them. But the reality is that Snow Raiders, they don't cut lawns very well. So you have these units that are very dedicated, and they do make sense. But to me, again, it's not a hard sell for me to just say, hey, this is a Swiss Army knife. It can do everything really, really well. At the beginning, in my opinion, I was a little disappointed with how it mowed. I thought, hey, it might be the jack of all trades, but it's like the master of none. And we've all heard that and we've said that. But I think whatever you guys are doing engineering-wise to round out these accessories and round out the mowing and making sure, I think, Mike, you were saying a second ago, that everything does great as a standalone product. Can you talk a little bit more about like the testing, or what does that look like? Do you guys spend hours on end testing out each accessory to make sure that it is up to snuff?
Yeah, the short answer is yes. We do spend hours on end testing each piece individually. So when we tested the snowblower, we didn't even have the mower deck, like start to finish. That machine didn't have a mowing deck on it. We tested it through the winter pretty vigorously. We sent out our units with contractors, got their feedback. So like the bagger attachment, we obviously had the mowing deck on there when we tested the bagger on there, but we tested that through a couple full seasons even, and came out with the improvements later on down the road with the bagger. So the bagger is really a prime kit now. If you don't have the upgraded kits on that bagger, those are great performance enhancing attachments. If you're one of the original bagger customers, that you can get even better performance out of your machine.
Okay. And one question I have for you is elephant in the room is the MultiForce. So I'm actually literally setting mine up tomorrow. We got Mulch Week coming up next week. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, we have great friends out there, Nick Carlson with Cartmate and Mulchmate. And I was having a conversation with him. I said, dude, are you like threatened or anything like that? Like from this thing? And he goes, heck no. He goes, finally somebody who has a brain cell getting involved in the mulch game to realize the amount of mulch we're all moving, the profit in it, the efficiency needed in it. He goes, I've been screaming at the top of the roof for 3 years now with Mulchmate, saying there's another way. It's called efficiency. And then so he sends his best and says, thank you guys for legitimizing his entire business, which he wasn't waiting for that, but you guys know what I'm saying. He goes, finally somebody else is paying attention to the mulch industry. So I don't know which one of you guys want to take it away. Maybe Mike, if you want to tee it up for Jared after. What's the MultiForce? And if you guys have not seen this thing, you got to check it out on Instagram and YouTube. But MultiForce, what's that all about?
Okay, yeah. So for the MultiForce, what we've done there is we took advantage of the hydraulic system from our low flow hydraulics kit that's part of the MultiForce design. So with that low flow hydraulics, we have the ability to raise and lower a bucket attachment that we've mounted up on the machine.
Okay.
So ground up design for the bucket. We sent that out with contractors, and for those of you who are looking at the MultiForce and see that door on the front and wondering what that's for, so that piece of feedback came from our contractors. They wanted to use this bucket with a lot of the mulch conveyor systems that are out there. So
sure.
if you're using those in combination, that's what that door is for. It allows you to fold that down and fit under some of those conveyor systems. But yeah, so we tried to think of everything when we came out with this MultiForce. We didn't think of the door right away, but based off of feedback, that's how we got that design idea.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then we put that through a full round of testing on its own. We had 2 MultiForce machines, and we sent them around a bumpy kind of gravel track and had them full up of mulch, and we dumped each unit. I can't remember how many thousand times dumping them into each other, but yeah, testing nonstop, running mulch all the time, and overall the testing came back very positive results. And driving the machine full speed with mulch, and depending on your terrain, if you're on a nice road, it's recommended, but I don't want to recommend people abuse the machine too much. Yeah, being the engineer behind it, but I know what it's capable of, and it's capable of everything it needs to be for a MultiForce, and it's a very efficient machine. And our feedback came back letting us know some of our contractors even did time trial runs racing the MultiForce against wheelbarrows, and it's a lot faster.
No kidding. Jared, what's your thoughts on the MultiForce? Because you and I were talking via email, and I'm like, dude, we got to talk about MultiForce.
Yeah. So first off, thanks to Nick Carlson there for the nod. And I tell you, he talk about a creative guy that's building a business over there. What a great story that is. And, definitely seeing a need that he addressed. So hats off to him too. But, really, really quick on that, talking about the testing. So I think Mike might have mentioned this thing's 11 cubic feet almost at 250 pound payload, stainless steel, dumps out 10 inches in front of the casters. It's got that front door that flips down so you can pull into a mulch conveyor. A lot of those developments came from testing in the field, both small contractors and then some large corporate accounts. And, interesting story, a large company up in Chicago, the guy I've been working with up there, he's salt of the earth, just a wonderful guy, but he's managing all these crews, and I call him every week for feedback and to check in. And he said, Jared, I got a problem. I said, okay, well, what's that? What's the issue? He says, well, they couldn't get it to dump. I said, well, that's no good. You want me to pull Mike in here? And he said, well, they had it loaded down with sheetrock, and the hydraulics wouldn't lift. And I said, well, Dave, that's probably over 250 pounds. So, I just want to remind people that with this, there is that 250 pound limit on the unit on what you put in it. So, when another thing is I worked with another one of the contractors that tested, sent over, and this is a brilliant guy basically, and he started doing time trials and sending us this information. And so when you see the price and you say $1,600 for a wheelbarrow, I mean, come on, you get real here, guys. Mm-hmm. The fact is that, the bucket's nearly twice as large as a standard wheelbarrow. It's basically 3 times as fast when you have it on the MultiForce. So, what one guy can do with the MultiForce and MultiForce is basically the work of what 5 could do with a wheelbarrow. So some of that time trial work that was done, I'm just gonna throw out some numbers there. And, let's say your average trip was 40 yards, pay your guys $25 an hour. Basically the attachment will pay for itself. And of course, this doesn't include the cost of the overall machine and the low flow hydraulics on it. But the machine should pay for itself in 1,000 cubic yards of mulch. So,
okay.
if you're working on small residential areas, then it may not make sense. But if you're doing some large areas where you need to get to the back of the house and you're moving a little bit of mulch in a year, then this thing comes out to be a pretty nice little attachment that can support your business.
And that's not unrealistic. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, we move a couple hundred yards of mulch. We don't even do a lot of mulch, but a couple hundred yards with all of our commercial and residential sites that we do. So I have a smaller business compared to some of these guys listening in. But it's always like the hidden cost or like the hidden benefit of like, sometimes it's okay to spend a few bucks to like not have your guys be tired or their backs breaking. Like you can get dollars and cents about moving 1,000 yards of mulch in a MultiForce or 1,000 yards via wheelbarrows and whatever. But the reality is like, hey, the guys are going to go home less tired, and not everybody's quantifying that. That's something that me as I get older, I've realized like, hey, if I can keep my guys fresh and they're looking forward to the next day to do mulch versus dreading moving another 20, 30 yards that day, like that adds up. That's just my opinion, Jared.
No, that's spot on. The same guy in Chicago I was talking about on one of the crews that was running it. He said, "Hey, I got a problem, Jared." I said, "What's that, Dave?" He says, "You're not getting that bucket back, I don't think," because the guy running it told him that he's not giving it back. That's how much he loved it. So it does. It gets into that, pushing a wheelbarrow around all day, which I mean, I've had a few days doing that type of work, and obviously you have too, and a ton of the people listening. I mean, it's not easy on your back. It's hard on you. It's hard on your legs. Yep. I mean, you could step on a rock the wrong way and roll your ankle. There's a ton of things that could happen. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you're on a machine moving along at 6-7 miles an hour, it's a game changer.
Yeah. And, again, anytime we can just go from a dump trailer or dump insert right into the MultiForce or even like my friend Nick with his cart mates. I just, and we're going to be running both in tandem and doing our own little tests. And again, you got to put it through the YouTuber influencer celebrity diva test. That's the unofficial test, right? And so, yep. And I told Toro, I'm like, we're going to do these fun time trials. And guys, I just try to put it like through practical real world experiences. Like I so appreciate the guys like Mike out there, because without him, like we wouldn't have running water and electricity and like buildings. But guys like me, I'm like, doopy-doo, here we go. I got to go put this stuff out every day. And by the way, I said this in the Toro video, when they did the drop off, our dealer brought the equipment. I said, interestingly enough, I'm literally was texting my guy, Alex at Weingart's, because I was about to drop just under $20,000 for a Kubota tractor. And I'm not going to compare a Kubota tractor to a MultiForce, but the utility and the reason I was going to get the tractor is because we do have some larger commercial sites and larger commercial mulch jobs. And I'm like, well, like I got limited options out here. I got a couple different things. And so literally the week we got our equipment dropped off, I was going to pull the trigger on a Kubota tractor for, like I said, about $20,000 with the large, like 60-inch quick attach bucket. And again, I know it's not apples to apples, but the bottom line is, let's say you already have a MultiForce, because you already have to mow. So let's just give some slack to this conversation in Toro's favor. You got to mow with something. So let's say you already do have a MultiForce and you already do have the low flow hydraulics on there. For $1,600 compared to buying $20,000 tractor or some other dedicated unit for $10,000, it could actually be a very good value to just go with a MultiForce and a MultiForce. So that's kind of where my perspective was. And I literally came home, Jared, and I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm not buying the tractor for mulch or for the land. And she goes, why not? I go, because Toro just sent this stuff, and I said it's got a dumping bucket. And she goes, what's it called? I go, I don't know, dumping bucket. So the guy that was dropping it off, he's like, this is all the names. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like whatever, just throw it in the locker. Cause I'm busy. And I go, MultiForce. And so I was watching my friend Sean and Savannah Spencer on YouTube, and he was doing some mulch jobs. I'm like, oh my God, I need to get one of those. And then Liz like hits me in the with the elbow, and she goes, hey dummy, I think that's what you have in your storage locker. So I again, sharp as a marble here, but Mike, we appreciate guys like you, just so you know. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.
100%, brother. So, okay, well, let's button it up right here. This is some of the talking points that I know that we wanted to get through. And again, guys, I'm not here to sell you or convince you. I just think if I had to take it all the way back to the beginning, and I'm going to get started with, a mower, and I'm going to probably expand services, and I'm looking for that utility tool that that Swiss Army knife that can handle a bunch of things well. I would honestly say consider the MultiForce. I'm going to put it through its ringer over the next 12 months, and of course from there on after. But it just logically makes sense. You got one mower that can run all these different attachments. I think the future is bright for Toro. And I, again, to go full circle, I'm impressed that you guys had the foresight, Jared, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago, that you guys saw the ship was turning, and this is something that you guys came out with to kind of answer that call. So, Jared, is that kind of what you guys are thinking about the future of the MultiForce?
Yeah. With the future of the MultiForce, I mean, we've got a pretty strong suite of attachments right now. I mean, there's some areas of improvement that again, the feedback is critical. So we're getting some of that feedback. I think I saw one response to your video the other day that talked about, well, what about forks on it, so you can lift the pallet a couple inches. I mean, there's that feedback just gives us more ideas and thinks about other ways we can improve this product. So we do have some plans, some of which I can't talk about right now. They're kind of top secret, I'd say, but
sure,
we're going to keep increasing the efficiency. I mean, we've got, in the last few years, we've revamped our Z Master 2000. We've came out with a new Z Master 4000. That's been pretty well received here this year. We've added 6 new multi-force attachments, and we launched a new software program called Horizon 360. Talk about increasing your efficiency. I mean, that supports with quoting and billing and crew management. I mean, we're going to keep hammering that efficiency message and trying to figure out ways to support you guys in growing your business the best way possible.
I like it. Well, we appreciate that commitment from Toro. Mike, final thoughts from you, brother. You're one of the go-to guys on this whole conversation, and this is your baby. This is your brainchild. So,
yeah. I mean, I guess I can't talk too much about the future of the lineup. I'm a little privileged to some information I can't talk about. So, I'll kind of cautiously say that there's more coming down the pipeline. And I mean, all around every attachment that we come out with, we vet thoroughly through the races, and we put them through all of our testing. I mean, we've got our hot rooms, our cold rooms, our winter testing. We do it all to them. So. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
I like it. Hey, if you guys are open to feedback, hot mic, I was thinking, it would be really cool if there's like the Bulldog jacks that you can, slip on the front of like a Toro or a Laser Z. If you could like come out with like a Ram that could use the low flow, that would just pop the front mower up, and then that way you could change your blades out. I don't know if that's an option, but that'd be kind of a cool little quick attach to sells, for $249. So a little hydraulic ram that just pushes the mower up 2.5, 3 feet, and that way you can change your blades out.
Yeah, that's all right. Hey, that's a great idea.
So
Mike's gonna have it figured out in a week, right, Mike?
Well, as soon as
give or take.
Yeah, as soon as it gets figured out, don't forget my royalty and my residual, right? That's what we always talk about on the show. So
deal.
You can call it Ram Force or something fun, but it sounds like a heavy metal band, doesn't it, Mike? So.
Yeah, I like it.
Oh gosh, this is terrible. I'll excuse myself from the conversation from here forward. So that's what I got. So all right, guys. Well, any final things that you guys want to leave with our audience while we got you? Again, this isn't a big selling fest where we're trying to convince you guys about the MultiForce. In all honesty, I don't have any obligation to from Toro to talk about the MultiForce on the podcast or on Instagram. We're going to do some YouTube videos and just kind of share the message and honestly just give our feedback. But I was really impressed when the unit got dropped off to us. I said, dude, this is not the same thing that I tested out 3-4 years ago. And so I reached out to Toro. I said, hey, we got an audience. I want these guys to hear about what you guys got going on. So maybe Mike, I'll tee it up to you, brother. Any last final thoughts, and then we'll maybe shut it down with Jared. So,
I guess final thoughts I would say is just especially with a lot of these attachments, if they're not performing the way you expect them to, bring that feedback into your dealers. Chances are that we've resolved the issue, or if we haven't resolved it already, and good feedback to our dealers and getting that feedback to us really makes it, that helps us optimize our attachments. And I mean, like, for instance, if you've got snowblower issues or had them this winter, I mean, we've resolved, as far as I know, all of the issues that were out there this winter with that attachment. So, I'd say just make sure you get that feedback to us on how the attachments are working. Go through your dealers and your dealer channels, and hand it over to Jared for his last thoughts.
Cool.
Great. Thanks, Mike. I mean, I guess my little closing pitch here is, number one, Brian, thanks for doing what you do. I mean, you shed a lot of knowledge in the industry, and you do a very good job. So thank you for that. Thank you for being a voice. And, to you as a business owner and people that are listening to this discussion, I mean, I've owned a small business before. It's not easy. There's a lot of risk. You have to make the right decisions. And, our goal is to make you guys as efficient as possible with MultiForce and support you to grow your business.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're going to keep driving forward with that intent, and, just keep providing us feedback so we can get better and, hopefully enable you guys to grow your business. That's really our goal here in the end.
All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate you guys jumping on the show, and thank you so much for sharing everything that you guys did. And again, guys, I reached out to Toro to bring them on the show, so super appreciate these guys taking time out of their busy calendar. Like I said earlier, when Rob and I were out there earlier, I saw the little spinning thing going on there for the bagger. So, Mike, shout out to you and your team over there for making that happen. But we super appreciate you guys being on the show, and hopefully this just shines a little bit more light on the MultiForce. And again, make sure you guys stay tuned to YouTube. We're going to be making videos, year round, obviously, on this thing, and keep you guys posted with how it performs. But Mike, Jared, appreciate you guys big time. Thanks so much for joining us on the show.
Hey, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you, Brian. Appreciate being on the show.
You bet, guys. All right, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much to all of you guys that are listening in. Hope you guys are having a great day with whatever you guys got going on, and wish you guys nothing but the best, obviously. And guys, stay tuned. We'll be back here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday every morning here. We got a podcast dropping for you guys. So let's kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer in the ATL, to bring you guys the show wrap up and final notes. And we will catch up with you guys here on the next one.
I want to finish up on that glorious news that Brian's wife, Liz, dropped on her Instagram account. She wrote, excited to finally share that baby girl Fullerton will be joining the crew at the end of 2021. She says, thank you for all of the love, support, and prayers over these last few months. Our sweet girl has already been so blessed. Now, some of you regular listeners to the program may have heard that news about the baby girl, that she was on the way, when Brian let that slip on the Corey Ballard episode, and Mr. Producer forgot to cut that out. So much for being the best in the biz. But certainly I am thrilled with this news, and I'm just wondering how long before Brianna's 10 saved you 10 at Chuck E. Cheese. You don't think they'll name her Brianna, do you? Hey, we are big fans of Toro around here at Fullerton Unfiltered, and love that they have signed on as one of our sponsors for Together in the Trades down in Waco, home of the national champion Baylor Bears. That's June the 12th. It's an event for couples who work together, are thinking about working together in the trades, or just want to work together on improving and divorce-proofing their marriage. You know how this works. I'll throw the link in the show description. And one more time, thank you to Cujo for making today's show happen. You're a lawntrepreneur. You're smart about investing in equipment to grow your business, to be more efficient, go the distance, and take more on. But if you're not investing in yourself, it affects how hard you can work, how long you can work, how fast you can work. You want efficiency. It's time to trash those grass-stained athletic shoes that fail on slopes and in the dew. You want to go the distance. Forget about the overkill boots that weren't built for the yard. You don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction, because Cujo Yardwear was built for you. From heel to toe, Cujo selected the best quality materials to optimize the performance and satisfaction of lawn care professionals. While you focus on laying killer stripes, Cujo will be there every step of the way. Check them out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.